In the beginning of the story, a woodpecker named Woody is perched on a branch, enjoying his pizza. Suddenly, he hears a human voice and his pizza falls to the ground. He looks down to see a YouTuber with 80 lakh followers who have come to stay in the forest with some friends because his followers dared him to do so. Woody is not happy about the YouTuber and his friends being in his forest, so he decides to mess with them. First, he drops a pile of black soot on the YouTuber's head. Then, he ruins his friend's bathtub. The YouTuber is furious and tries to attack Woody, but Woody is too quick for him. He destroys the YouTuber's entire camp and sends him flying into the air. The YouTuber's friends are scared and run away. In the next scene, a forest ranger arrives and tells Woody that he has caused a lot of damage to the forest and that he must leave. The other animals in the forest also want Woody to go. Woody is sad, but he agrees to leave. The forest ranger tells Woody that he can come back to the forest when he learns to work as part of a team. Woody leaves the forest sadly. He crosses the road carelessly and causes a car accident. A little further down the road, he sees a sign for a camp. The sign says that everyone at the camp works together and that teamwork is their strength. Woody is happy to see this because he wants to get a certificate that proves he can work as part of a team and get along with others. He goes inside the camp. At the camp, Woody meets a girl named Maggie who tells him that he can get a teamwork badge there. But to do that, he will have to work with the other campers as part of a team. Upon hearing about the decision to work to earn the teamwork badge, Woody begins to leave because he doesn't want to work. However, just then it's lunchtime, so Woody decides to stay at the camp to have free food. He becomes very happy upon seeing the free and tasty food available there. After a while, Maggie's mom, who was the leader of the camp, informs Maggie that the safety investigation officer Valley is coming, who could order the camp to close if any problem arises. Maggie's mom was quite worried about this news. Deciding to stay in the camp to have free food, Woody and the team then decide to work to earn the teamwork badge. However, during this time, Woody ventures into the other part of the camp where Hura Camp was located. Maggie's mom and the leader of Hura Camp, Jen, were sisters and they ran camps catering to their children's preferences. While Jen empowered her campers like soldiers, Maggie's mom awakened her talented campers and gave them the freedom to live their lives fully. Due to Woody's visit to that camp area, the children from Hura Camp start teasing Woody and Maggie. Jen took great pride in her camp and considered the campers from Maggie's camp losers, as Jen's camp always won in the games held between the two camps. Learning this, Woody decides to win Maggie's camp this time. He then leaves with Maggie and the others from the camp. Next, we see the nameless eagle, who is keeping an eye on the camp with binoculars, and we learn from his attire that he is coming from jail. In the next scene, we see Inspector Valley, who arrives in his small car for a safety investigation in Maggie's camp. Inspector Valley is not liked by Woody at all, so he starts bothering him, which makes Valley angry. However, Maggie's mom somehow manages to take Valley away with her. After Maggie, Woody comes to the camp with her grandfather, where she tells about how years ago during the gold rush, Maggie's grandfather also came there in search of gold. During his search, Maggie's grandfather found a lot of gold and bought a large piece of land on which he built a camp. Before Maggie's grandfather's son could arrive there, he died and his gold was lost with him somewhere. Maggie's grandfather had two sons who often fought over the land because one son was an artist and the other was a military officer. After a few days, the two of them divided the entire land into two parts, one of which was Maggie's camp and the other was Jane's camp. Maggie also tells her that whenever there is a match between the two camps, Jane's camp always wins, which is why Woody decides to team up with her to win the games this time. Now, Woody accidentally breaks down the wall with a gas cylinder and reaches Maggie's other friends. Because of this, all of Maggie's friends also find out about Woody. Maggie then introduces him to all her friends with some talent. For example, one is an expert at playing video games and another is good at writing scary stories. Only Maggie doesn't have any special talent and is only there because of her mom. The next day, we see Jane watching the builder's game he won. Coffee is watching him when the eaglehawk, who was watching Jane from a distance, comes up to him and tells him that his old job is over. So now he will cook for Jane instead. Jane likes the burger made by the hawk, so he hires him. Now Buzz just starts to provoke Jane against Maggie's camp, and it is because of this camp that Jane is not able to train more children and build a base in his camp. And if for some reason Maggie's mom has to be sent to camp, then Jane's camp will already be much bigger and he will be able to make even more kids the best in their lives. Jane likes Buzz's idea very much and he leaves from there. In the next scene, we see Inspector Bailey, who had ordered a lot of improvements at Maggie's camp. Maggie's mom was very upset about this because it was going to take a lot of time and money, which was a big problem for them. Odie has completely ruined Inspector Bailey's car, which makes Inspector Bailey very angry and he gets back in his car and drives away. On the other hand, we see Buzz talking to someone on the phone in the kitchen. This tells us that he was there to get Maggie's grandfather's gold, which is hidden somewhere under the camp. Buzz also had a map that he wanted to use to find the gold. Buzz orders dangerous gadgets to his camp to execute his plan. When Jane asks him about them, he lies and says that he ordered them to make tasty food for him. Jane believes him and allows him to bring all the items inside the camp. In the next scene, we see Maggie with her friends when her mother arrives. She is not happy with Woody's antics and tells everyone that they have 24 hours to fix all the shortcomings of the camp as per Bailey's instructions. This is a difficult task for them as they don't have enough money. If they fail to do so, their camp will be shut down. Woody starts preparing for the upcoming games with the rest of the camp members, hoping to win both the games and the teamwork badge. In the next scene, we see Buzz hiding in the bushes, ready to drop dangerous Brazilian hands on the other camp. However, he makes a mistake and drops them on himself, landing himself in trouble. Meanwhile, Woody is training Maggie and the other kids to win the games. However, they are not training well as they are not as strong as the kids from Jane's camp. Buzz wants to sabotage Maggie's camp's training by any means necessary so that they lose the game and their camp is closed down. Once again, he returns and tries to stop them using his powerful magnet. But in the process, he gets trapped under the iron cell that falls due to the magnet's power. Woody then takes his camp's kids to the river for boating training. Buzz follows them, wanting to ruin their training by dumping garbage and chemicals into the river. But as usual, his plan fails and he ends up injured and trapped in his machine. After the boating training is over, Maggie shows Woody the cardboard fort she made to protect their camp flag during the welder game. In the next scene, we see Buzz talking to his partner on the phone. When he tells him about Woody, Buzz's partner tells him to take advantage of Woody's anger. Buzz likes the idea and secretly calls out to Woody. Woody recognizes Buzz as the one who was harassing them during training. In anger, Woody attacks Buzz to beat him up, but in the process, he accidentally destroys his own camp and succeeds in his plan. Maggie, along with Inspector Bailey and her mother, arrives there and is shocked to see the state of the room. Inspector Bailey talks about closing the camp due to safety concerns. Hearing the commotion, Jane's camp members and Buzz also arrive. Woody blames Buzz for the destruction, but Buzz denies it. Inspector Bailey declares Jane's camp the best as it has no safety issues. Woody says they will defeat Jane's camp in the upcoming games to prove which camp is better. Inspector Bailey agrees and decides to be the referee for the games. Buzz is angry with Jane for saving his camp from closure by not refusing to participate in the village game. On the other hand, Woody tells Maggie and the other kids that they have saved the camp for a few days only, as they will never win against Jane's camp and their camp will be closed again. Maggie assures her friends that they will win the games this time. They all start training with Woody, and soon the day of the games arrives. Inspector Bailey starts the game as the referee. The first game is boating, which Maggie's camp loses badly. After losing the second and third games, arm wrestling, their score is 0, while Jane's camp scores 3. Buzz is overjoyed at this, while Woody and his camp members are upset and worried. The fourth game is now between the two camps. They have to overcome many obstacles and reach their destination hanging from a rope. Jane's camp's candidate easily wins this game, and Maggie's camp members are disappointed as they could never do it. Seeing her team depressed, Maggie assures them that they can win. She tells her team's best video game player to play this game like a video game. Maggie, she plays the game like a video game and completes it before the other camp, winning the game. Woody, Maggie, and all of her camp members were overjoyed, while Buzz and his camp members were completely surprised. At this point, Maggie's camp's score was 1 and the other camp's score was 3. Maggie's camp members were very happy to win their first game and they had a lot of fun. Maggie's mom also supported her camp. The next day, Inspector Bailey blows the whistle to start the fifth game, which involves sitting on a hugging peak for as long as possible. First, a player from Jane's camp sits on the hugging peak and breaks his own camp's previous record by setting a new high. Maggie's camp members were shocked to see this. Maggie once again assures her teammates that they can win this game too. She sends her camp's fastest math student forward and he uses his math calculations to stay there the longest. He also breaks the other camp's record and they win this game too. Everyone was very happy and their score was now 2 and the other camp's score was 3. In the next game, they had to throw a stone far away using a rocket. As usual, the first candidate from Jane's camp throws the stone far away and sets a record. After that, Maggie's camp's explosion master goes to play this game, who loves to blast things. He puts a special kind of paper on the stone and throws it very far, even further than the previous camp's throw. They also win this game and now both camps have the same score. In the next game, they had to climb a crime wall. Maggie's camp's player is afraid of heights, but Maggie tells him to climb the wall as if he were climbing a tree. Listening to her, he starts climbing the wall very quickly and easily. Maggie's player overtakes his camp's opponent. However, Buzz has already oiled the wall, causing his hand to slip and fall. Maggie's camp loses this game and is now 1 point behind the other camp. Despite this, Maggie and the rest of the camp praise and encourage their teammate. In the next game, the candidates from both camps have to finish eating first. Buzz cleverly adds Woody's favorite taste to the food, causing him to lose control and eat all the food in one go. As a result, Maggie's camp is disqualified from the game and their points are awarded to the other camp, bringing their score to 5. Maggie's camp's score remains at 3. In the next game, both camps have to tell the scariest and most carrying stories. Maggie sends her camp's scariest storyteller to the camp. However, she refuses to tell the story in front of Jane's camp because she has always told stories to her camp. Maggie tells her to imagine that her camp members are sitting in front of her instead of Jane's camp. Listening to her, she does so and tells a very scary and deep story that scares everyone and gives Maggie's camp the victory. They are now just 1 point behind the other camp. Despite being 1 point behind, they are happy and having a good time. On the other hand, Buzz is very upset about losing the game and tells Jane about it. But Jane doesn't pay much attention to it because he won't have any problem even after winning the game. We then see Woody going to the kitchen of Jane's camp to eat as he is hungry. There he hears Buzz talking to someone on the phone. From this, he comes to know that Buzz has come to search for the gold buried under the camp and has got Jane to sign some documents that will send Jane to jail and his entire camp will be saved. Woody gets scared on hearing this, but before he can leave, Buzz finds out about his presence and locks him in a room so that he can't tell anyone about it. The next day, the final game between both camps began, where each camp had to capture the other camp's flag, and whichever camp first captured the flag of the other camp would win the game. With Woody absent, Maggie and her campmates were feeling quite alone, and they had no idea where Woody was. Also, their cardboard castle, made by Bodge, had been destroyed, leaving them clueless about how they would win the game. On the other hand, in Jen's camp, the delivery boy who brought supplies to the camp releases Woody from his room, and when Bodge finds out about this, he gets very angry at the delivery boy and starts attacking Woody again. But this time, Woody easily dodges Bodge's attacks. Meanwhile, Inspector Valley signals the start of the game with his whistle, and Maggie, along with her teammates, devises a new plan to save their camp's flag. Meanwhile, a dangerous fight is going on between Bodge and Woody, during which Bodge is about to hit Woody when Woody fires a flare gun for help. Then we see Maggie, who, along with her teammates, follows the plan and enters the game to win. They were about to win the game when they saw the flare gun Woody and understood that he was in trouble, so they set out to rescue him. They reach the kitchen of Jen's camp where they see Bodge fighting with Woody. Taking advantage of this situation, Woody easily ties Bodge and reveals to everyone the truth about how he intends to close both camps and acquire the gold underneath. They found a map near Bodge, and there were similar maps near both camps. When Jen combines the three parts of the map, she realizes that her grandfather's gold is underneath their statue. After learning this, they easily free themselves and, along with Woody, start digging in the room to find the treasure. During the excavation, Bodge finds some big boxes, and upon seeing them, he understands that there is gold inside those boxes and becomes very happy. Then we see Woody and Maggie, who, after facing many difficulties, successfully come out of the room and see that Bodge is preparing to leave with his partner in a helicopter carrying the boxes full of gold. Woody and Maggie try to stop Bodge together, but during this, Maggie starts falling, which the rest of the camp members catch in the air, saving her life. Seeing Woody also falling, he too is saved and manages to escape from there with the balloon box. After going a little further, Bodge and his partner realize that there was no gold in those boxes, only stones. This completely surprises them, and their helicopter crashes as well. On the other hand, Woody is very upset because he can't stop Bodge, and during that time, when he starts chipping away at Maggie's grandfather's statue, everyone realizes that the gold is in the ground. It wasn't buried below, but the statue itself was made entirely of gold. Upon seeing this, everyone from both camps is very happy. After this, with the help of Maggie's mom and Jen, both camps are merged into one camp, and now the children from both camps start living happily together. Woody is then awarded the teamwork badge, which makes him very happy, and he bids farewell to everyone along with Maggie, returning to the forest officer in his forest. And with that, the movie ends right here. So if you liked the video, dear friends, this is the first video that I have uploaded in English. I need your support. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon.